Edith Wharton was born in 1862 into a high-society New York family. Despite growing up in the strict Gilded Age and being forbidden from reading novels until her wedding day, she was an extremely precocious and prolific author. She wrote novels, poems, ghost stories, and books on garden and interior design. She spent much of her life in Europe and had an unhappy marriage. The Age of Innocence, which is partially autobiographical, made her the first woman to be awarded the Pulitzer Prize in 1921. Written at a time when readers were tired of war stories, it allowed her to go back to her memories of the world she had grown up in and which in 1914 had been destroyed by the World War. Lawyer Newland Archer is happily engaged to May, a frivolous high society girl he intends to make cultured and worldly wise. Newland is intellectually superior to the rest of New York high society, but no less conformist. The arrival of Countess Ellen Olenska, May's unconventional cousin, returning from Europe after escaping from a cheating husband, sparks scandalous rumors. It is rumored that she committed adultery with her husband's secretary, who helped her escape. At first, Newland is irritated by her disrespectful comments on New York society and her attitude. After defending Ellen's right to rebuild her life, Newland begins to realize how deeply society conditions women, such as May, who is innocent and unable to think for herself. He also begins to appreciate Ellen's free spirit, which May does not possess, and the way she shows him society's hypocrisy and blind reverence for its most influential members. To avoid scandal, his family asks him to convince her not to divorce. The feelings he's beginning to have for her, and the idea of a monotonous life torment him. His request to move up the wedding makes his fiancée suspect he's in love with a former lover. Newland denies, but later declares his love to Ellen, who refuses to hurt May. Moments later, May informs them that her parents have agreed to move up the wedding. Newland forgets Ellen. A year and a half later, seeing her again rekindles his feelings and he goes to see her. Ellen promises him to stay in America only if they are able to keep their distance. They decide they'll meet one last time to consummate their love, but Newland learns that Ellen is about to go back to Europe. At the farewell dinner for Ellen, Newland realizes that the family has long believed them to be lovers, and it intends to separate them. The plan succeeds when May reveals to Newland that she is pregnant and that she told Ellen when she was still unsure, causing a departure for Europe. Newland is forced to give up the idea of following her. The narrating voice and dialogues are taken directly from the novel, to which the movie is very faithful. The major differences can be seen in its depiction of the characters. A few characters are absent from the movie, such as Ellen's eccentric aunt, Medora Manson. In the movie, some of her comments are attributed to the equally eccentric Miss Mingot. In the book, it was not her parents who raised her and made her so unconventional, but rather Medora, who took her in after she lost them in her babyhood. In the novel, May has blonde hair and blue eyes, while Ellen has brown hair. In the book, Newland's conformist mentality changes gradually, while in the movie we are told that he enjoys challenges to convention from the beginning. In the book, Newland is annoyed and even shocked by Ellen at first, something which the movie fails to convey. The Age of Innocence is an anthropological and ironic study of the habits and dark sides of a society in the Gilded Age, a prosperous yet controversial time. It was her friend Henry James who suggested that the author write about the New York of their time. The movie and novel deal with the same themes. The main ones are Ellen and Newland's impossible love, hindered by Newland's sense of duty and Ellen's unwillingness to hurt May and the family, divorce, which was deemed scandalous at the time, and marriage based above all on social and material interests. The challenge to social conventions, symbolized by Ellen's lifestyle. She lives in a bohemian neighborhood and hangs out with people who are frowned upon. Marginalization suffered by anyone posing a threat to the family's reputation. Hypocrisy embodied by Lawrence Lefferts, who makes his wife believe he has high moral standards, but cheats on her. And lastly, the status of women, whose education is aimed at making them perfect wives. This issue is addressed more extensively in the book, where we're told they have no freedom of judgment, and unlike men, no right to have sentimental relationships before marriage. The Age of Innocence has become a classic of American literature. It is a timeless story. Even in our time, it's easy to identify with Ellen and Newland's suffering. They're forced to live an impossible love and a life which does not suit them and which they can't or are unwilling to change. The importance of the novel is proven by the prestigious prize awarded to Edith Wharton and several movie and stage adaptations. I chose to read this novel after watching the movie, which had fascinated me with its magnificent settings, heart-wrenching plot, and an amazing soundtrack. Like the movie, the book is poetic and ironic. It's written in an elegant and evocative style, which is able to capture a complex social context and convey the narrow-mindedness of a stagnant and suffocating society. Both the novel and the movie urge me to reflect on how much society can influence us. How much are we willing to sacrifice for our own happiness? The ending, set in Paris 26 years after Newland and Ellen's farewell, is moving. For a moment it rekindles the hope that the two lovers can finally be together. After all, Newland is now a widower and times have changed, but a beautiful memory can never clash with reality.